So the Oklahoma Sooners and Brent Venables has gotten some good news heading into the game against Tennessee this week. Probably pretty critical to what this team's going to do in order to play this team. So we got to dive into that, right? We're going to talk about some injury updates from Brent Venables that came through. We've got to look at the AP poll and the coaches poll and the ESPN FPI. I know. We got to talk about it because we got to get into the habit of talking about it every week, regardless of how we feel about it. So let's dive into all of that. Before we do that, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up to the channel. This video is presented by our partners over at BetUS. They are hooking up the gamer 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. They are taking care of you all. Just use the promo code YouTube150. Let's look at the polls. Then we can dive into the great news that I feel like is going to change the game for the Sooners. First and foremost, polls. We'll do this quick. Of course, right, like I told you, got to get the polls in every single week. Keep that muscle memory going, mainly because, I want you to understand where we're coming from and where we're going. And so looking at the polls right now, Sooners didn't really move, stayed at 15th in the AP poll, stayed at 13th in the coaches poll, which is kind of weird. I could have sworn that we were 15 and 14, but whatevs. We ain't really moved nowhere. And I'm not really complaining about that because I told you all, the one thing that I understand about the way the Sooners are playing, that no one believes us, right? Heck, most of you fans don't. And granted, I get it. I'm not even can't call you out, can't complain, can't say you're wrong. The team has to show us. But at the same time, I understand our biggest problem has been health. Once we're healthy, I think we'll be fine. So we'll see what the health looks like over the next couple of weeks. Hopefully this week, with this good news, we'll be excited about going into those games. But in an ESPN's FPI, has the Sooners sitting here at about 14th. So 13, 14, 15. We're right there in the middle of the top 25-ish area, top 30-ish, which to me is it's a safe spot for the Sooners to be at. Right now, FPI sees we're going to win about 7 games. And so all we got to do now is go out there and prove ourselves. I mean, I know most of you don't believe, and that's fine. But at the same time, I tell you every single time, if you ain't got hope, ain't no point rooting for a team. Just let's see it play out. It's going to take time. And I think that we'll be fine long term. So let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Love to hear from you all on the polls. Let's dive into, though, the good news. I think the good news outweighs all the bad, especially getting this award that we got for one of our defensive players. Cannot be more excited for this guy. But first, word from the sponsor. This video is powered by our partners over at BetUS. They are hooking up the gamer. They're giving you 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. $125 after that on your next 2. Taking care of the gamer. So we're looking at here coming to this game. We've got Tennessee, Oklahoma. Here's a prop bets that we got in here, right? Not just game, but prop bets. Look at that. Tennessee to win by 1 to 6 points is plus 400. But Oklahoma win 6 points is plus 500. Y'all know me. We going to take that. And there's all kinds of other games you can play. So we'll put $100 on that. Go ahead and see if Oklahoma can win within 1 and 5. I'm pretty excited about it. Let's see if that goes down. And again, BetUS is hooking you up 150% on your first deposit of $2,000. That's the bonus. And then they give you 125% on your next 2 deposits after that. Even better, they give you Better's insurance. They're going to take care of you and give you back 10% of your net losses twice a year. That is right. Nobody else in the industry is hooking you up like that. BetUS wants to make sure that you're having some fun, and I love that. So check them out. BetUS. Make sure you use the promo code YouTube150 when you sign up. 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. BetUS, where the game begins. I know, I buried the lead. My bad, but it happens. But good news-wise, Brent Venables had his press conference like he does every Tuesday. I know this video's coming out late and had to dive into it, right? He talked about, Tennessee, the excitement of the game. But one of the big ones is that Monday night, Jackson Arnold kind of leaked out that Nick Anderson's practicing, and it looks like Nick's going to be back. So we talked about it on Locked On Sooners this morning. And from that, as well as everything that Brent Venables was talking about going into the game, he doesn't have very many updates because the injury report drops on Wednesday. And the expectation on the injury report is that we'll most likely see a probable on Nick Anderson, but you'll see some probables as well on Troy Everett, as well as Branson Hickman. So you get 3 linemen back, questionable most likely for Jake Taylor. And yeah, that's huge, right? If you get Branson Hickman and Troy Everett back, you got a guard that's experienced and a center that's experienced. Technically 2 centers that's experienced, but one that can play guard as well. Troy Everett can play that. I mean, he's put on a lot of weight. I think he's up to like 320 now. And at that weight, to me, that's enough for him to be a massive threat there on the line. And so I'm excited at the fact that Troy Everett's back to play with Branson Hickman. And so that kind of shores up your offensive line and gets you back some more veterans. Still want to see Heath Uzeta get some rotation in, and he most likely will. But getting Sexton there at the left, Tarkin at the right, Wei Wu there at the right guard, and then left guard being Troy Everett with Branson Hickman, you don't have to worry about the calls. The calls can be made now with comfort because you've got 3 dudes on the left side that knows the playbook, the other 2 on the right that did really good in the playbook over the last couple of weeks. We're comfortable. That's kind of the point, right? There's more comfort on the offensive line and more trust there. And so then again, you let the redshirt freshman Heath Uzeta rotate in on a regular basis, get some Logan Howland in there rotating, whenever somebody needs to come out. That way you can keep guys fresh. But it's a very good chance that this offensive line spends majority of the time on the field. And then you can let Bates rotate in at center and continue to get his experience in preparation, because the Tennessee line is really, really, really good on the defensive side. But I'm very excited about the fact that we've got guys that look healthy and they're going to be playing. Now, Nick coming back changes the game. I'll talk about the Defensive Player of the Week award in just a minute, but Nick Anderson making his return is going to really open up that offense. It's going to allow for Jackson Arnold to get more comfortable. He'll have another receiver that can make space. He has another receiver outside of Deion Burks that can either go vertical or catch it short, sure hands. But it also allows for the young receivers to not feel like they have to do a lot, right? They can go out deep, catch some deep passes. They can, they can play shorter, but they don't have to create the space. That's what Burks and Nick Anderson's going to do. You can send them away, and then those guys can do work. You couldn't do that before when it was just Deion Burks. You had to, even though you could be meticulous about it, and a lot of the offense, you still needed the wide receivers to create some of that distance that you need. And so, hey man, you ain't got to do that no more. That's huge for this offense. And we'll dive deeper into that a little bit later this week, especially when I get back to the crib. But the key thing here is having Nick Anderson back is probably going to change the way this offense works. And honestly, it may even open up the run game, especially if you get these offensive linemen back. Things are going to get better for the Sooners. Tell me what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Now, last thing I want to talk about, this good news that Brent Venables got going into this game is R. Mason Thomas, Bronco Nagurski, National Defensive Player of the Week. Now, last week we got Grayson Halton, got the SEC Player of the Week on defense. We weren't going to get that award twice. SEC ain't going to do that. But Bronco Nagurski hooked us up with the national one, which is huge for what R. Mason Thomas did. I mean, he had that big game. He had his 3 sacks, right? He had his pass breakup. He forced a fumble and he recovered it, basically a strip sack. R. Mason had himself a game and he was a captain in the game. No better big deal than that. That was his 3rd start. He had 3 tackles for a loss. He had sacks, right? He did everything he needed by preserving the lead and closing out that game. That's a huge confidence booster for a player like him. We saw Grayson Halton played even better after he got his award, 2 weeks ago. I can expect R. Mason Thomas to go out there against Tennessee and have a lot of confidence, especially if the rumor that Lance Hurd's ankle is a little banged up. Whatever side he's on, they're going to attack and push and put weight on him, make him use that ankle when he doesn't want to. That's huge. Talk to me. Hop in the comments. How y'all feel about a National Defensive Player of the Year? National Defensive Player of the Week. How you feel about that? That's 2 weeks in a row, right? We've got some sort of a defensive honor. I know, Sooner fans, you're not used to it. It's not a custom for you to have, multiple awards on the defensive side. Totally get that. But hey, we did it, right? Can't beat that. All right, made this far like the content. Go ahead and hit the like button. New to the channel, subscribe. Love for y'all to join this family, Sooner fans. We're talking OU football, SEC talk, and college football in general. Having a blast to do it. All right, we got Tennessee coming up this week. We'll talk more about them a little bit later as we prepare. I'll be back in town next few days. I'll be at the game. Hopefully you will too. And when you get there, you got to be loud. And this video is powered by our partners over at BetUS. Check them out. 150% bonus up to $2,000 on your first deposit. They are taking care of you all there. Chop it up soon. Peace.